What listeners will learn in this book is that Rodney Dangerfield lived life by his own rules. He did not care one whit what anyone else thought about his pot-smoking habit or his mode of offstage dress, which, as you will learn, was frequently a bathrobe, sometimes open and slippers, the better in which to feel comfortable, particularly for the rigors of an interview with the press, which he did not particularly enjoy. He was public but private, and did not enjoy talking about his tough, loveless childhood or about his craft, as if trying to explain what fueled his comedy was obvious enough without having to overanalyze everything. In that regard, Rodney Dangerfield was right, since, let's face it, there is nothing more boring than listening to a windy comic break down what makes a joke funny, or pontificate on the milieu. Rodney would have none of that in the thousands of interviews he granted after his later-in-life successes, and, in hindsight, it stood him in good stead. If the subject turned serious, he would immediately go into his shtick to throw the interviewer off the scent, and it usually worked. Sure, he dropped a few biographical tidbits into his press clippings over the years, but he also repeated the same lines ad nauseum. That selling paint in the 1950s was a colorless job, for instance. He saved the majority of his emotional ruminations for his ghost-written autobiography, published in 2004 shortly before his death. And in that sense, there could never be any annoying or probing follow-up questions. Rodney had the last laugh. You could quote one of his jokes on a tombstone and people would get a kick out of it, Rodney's friend Jay Leno told the author. He was the classic definition of a comedian. He could play an audience in just about any circumstance. You know, some people are very good only in a particular type of crowd. Rodney could play the sand and gravel convention, or he could play Harvard. If this was the silent era, he would have been Chaplin.